I think when you're questioned enough about your right to be somewhere, you naturally start to question yourself. And I think that's what I did as growing up.
Welcome to Fika's Focus. Voices leading change.
Kia ora whānau, here we are.
Kia ora.
We've got the lights, we've got action, the cameras, the mics. We're really stoked to have both you in this time around. Obviously got to podcast with Mōwai, but having you and Chey as well. The last time I reflected a lot on the beauty of your fellas' marriage, your relationship, and the esteem that you hold Chey in. So to have you in this space is cool, important for not only the kaupapa that connects us, but I think for the aspiration and focusing on some of that stuff moving to the future. So first off, the Whakamana Māori program at Tahatai School is certainly growing from strength to strength. I want to acknowledge now my baby Frankie's in there. She came home one day and she's like, I did Whakamana Māori today. And I was like, yes. And so seeing her and Suzanne, that's been cool because Frankie's so standoffish.
Yeah?
I know. She goes up and gives her a hug and I'm like, hey, where's that? I haven't seen that at home. Far out. She like, when I go to give her a kiss at night, she's like this. So it really warms my heart. Part of my own personal goals with Frankie this year was around exposure to more environments, because she's just she's wants to give, but she's very shy to go into other environments by herself. Whereas Marlo, she invited herself to anyone's house.
Put me in anyway.
I'm up, coach. So I want to really acknowledge that because Frankie's really buzzing about it. It started with just the lollies, I think, but then now...
It always does. That's how we hook them in.
Now she's just buzzing about it.
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for that, for my own baby, but man, let's talk through some of that stuff. So you got how many programs running now? What's going on at Tahatai in terms of capture and kids and things like that?
Yeah, so we have 2 rōpū now. We're running, bi-weekly kind of with each rōpū, and we have just entered into some of the mainstream classrooms. So we
beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. We've done all the year 6 classrooms. We would just go in and do a kind of standalone session.
Yes.
We focused on... Our session was kind of based around rongoa Māori and just different ways our tupuna would manage kind of anxiety and stress and teaching, the tamariki how to do that. So whether that's through ha or karakia, waiata, kai, and they end up creating a, what do we call it? Like a rongoa spray made from water we collected from Tangaroa, and they add their own essential oils and that's been really successful. We're a little bit, when we first started the Whakamana Māori program, it was very, we were focused on tamariki Māori, absolutely, because that's within the mainstream education. Sometimes access to Te Ao Māori can be limited for our tamariki. And so we wanted specifically a space where tamariki can thrive in their culture, in their reo, in their identity. But I think I'm also a very firm believer that what's good for Māori is good for all.
Yes.
Right? And so, our values, our tupuna lessons benefit all tamariki. So, it was just a little exploration out into the mainstream schools and how we can take some of our kōrero and implement it there, and the other students can kind of get a taste of what we're doing and what Te Ao Māori is all about, and just a little, because sometimes it's the first maybe proper interaction they've had with with that realm. So
The exposure and access is critical to any one growing an understanding of different culture and kaupapa, kawa, tikanga, whatever parts lie with that. When we know that children naturally are curious, and as they get older, it's kind of beaten out of them in ways.
Yeah.
I think I've talked to this before, that it's very hard to be empathetic if you're not curious.
Yeah.
And if we don't create access opportunities, then curiosity certainly doesn't thrive.
Yes,
That's the beauty of it. And the tupuna connection's a real easy one, in the fact that we all come from a group of people somewhere, someone. We're here because of, and what our tupuna did to cope in those spaces is a relevant thing in today's world, and it will be in tomorrow's world.
Yeah, especially for tamariki, especially for rangatahi,
yes. And we know that those are the symptoms of coping, anxiety, stress, resilience, certainly being tested in and around the world, not just here, but programs like Whakamana Māori, normalising that with a cultural lens is actually a very empowering way to do it. Yeah. And in terms of some of the success with the younger crew, because I was just talked about Frankie, but yeah, I mean, I can only gauge off her, but she's buzzing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that look like in terms of what are you guys seeing in that space now?
Well, just on last Whakamana Māori, we just had a mum just come up to us and says, "Hey, I heard you run a program." And then we're like, "Yeah, we do." And then it just she just wants her kids on it now.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of it. I think for me anyway, it's just having that connection. Just other whānau just hitting us up.
Yep.
Because they've heard, they've heard from the other mātua, around that.
And it's just
such a compliment.
Yeah.
Yes. I think the word of mouth piece is critical, because we value word of mouth. That's a very large kind of pat on the back if someone else is recommending you. But I think, what do you think, if we're talking through that mum kind of whakaaro there, what is it? What is it about Whakamana Māori that she wants for her children?
Connection, I think, for me. Oh, wow. Yeah. And I'm only viewing it from my own personality, my own perspective, I think, for me, because that's what I would want if I saw that. If I'm not connected, I want at least have my kids connected. So for me, I think it's connection.
Yes.
Just some sort of connection.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just going off that, my husband kind of explained it last time that the Whakamana Māori program, it began as like a love letter to our babies. And I think, which it absolutely did. That's where it started. I think as we began designing it and even facilitating it, we've kind of recognized was a little bit of a love letter to ourselves, to our own inner children,
of course,
to our the child in us that needed that when we were at school, because we both grew up very disconnected from Te Ao Māori, and we've been doing it for 3 years now, so still in baby steps. But the more we do it, the more I'm realizing, man, I needed this. I needed this when I was at school, and it's almost it's been healing for me. And I think it might just be a generation thing, but I think a lot of people kind of within our generations who also grew up disconnected and are on their journeys of reconnection want it for their babies, because that's what they missed out on. They want it. So they know the whakama that comes from it. They know the yearning. They have heard the karanga. They want it for them. They know, and they don't want their children to feel that same way. So it's almost like give it all, give everything we can. Like, we give it to our babies, so that
the privilege of, and I've only really realised this in the last couple of years, if I'm being honest, about. I grew up in Tokoroa. Obviously, there's a very multicultural town, And I took all that for granted in terms of that. It wasn't until I was exposed to other places overseas that I realised actually how beneficial it was, me growing up in a space like that. But I was also very connected to my Māoridom in this sense. My mum, I was talking to her last week, and my mum's going back through a phase now. She's 73 and she's going back and learning Reo Māori, and she's doing all this stuff, which is cool. But outside of the language being entirely fluent, which I know will come when I'm ready to go that way, I do feel like a lot of what we do in our world, I am serving Māoridom in so many realms that I want them to succeed and exceed expectations while partnering in with amazing people like yourselves. But I did take it for granted how regularly and frequently I was connected to my Māoridom and my marae. And my koro and all that stuff, you know, he's behind here and all this stuff. It's like my brother and I were talking through it. Like, we actually were lucky. Like, we got a lot of exposure from little.
Yeah. And beautiful.
Yes, yes. Because the mill was a major draw for lots of whānau to stay around Tokoroa because it was such a massive employer. And my mum came back from Christchurch. But then I'm connected over this way. So now there's a journey there for that lens that we're walking down, which is, again, the access, like, let's use access as a thing, but the internet, you know, what we can now drag up out of Māori land, all that far out, you know, when in the past you had to go around and ask someone or go to the urupa, right? Figure out some names, who do they belong to? Then we're on the internet, just drag up everything. Crazy. What do you think? Because we still need the physical sites, presences, we still need, and this is where I know AI will never replace, is this, you know, we're talking about a mauri or a spirit or something in those rooms and those experiences. How do we continue to ensure that stays out the front for programs like Whakamana Māori at a larger scale? So what does it look like? Because you've done the year 6s now. So what does that look like if we're saying we're adding in the year 5s and 4s, but we're still keeping that same spirit, you know, all that sort of stuff? What's your thoughts?
It's hard, because I think the thing even when we talk about you know, what happens for Whakamana Māori next year and expanding out and what does that look like, the thing that always comes back to for us is how do we keep it authentic, you know, how do we keep it how do we expand, how do we get it to more tamariki while keeping our values at the core of it? And I think and not turning it into, not that there's anything wrong with money making things, but, you know, without that being the focus of it, how do we keep the what's the word I'm looking for?
Integrity.
Yeah, the integrity of the kaupapa, because we have almost a, you know, it's big. This program's like a baby to us now, so we have you know, a stake in it. So we are absolutely passionate about it, and we know what we want at its core. But so if we did go to expand, and we did, because we want it, we've seen the power in it. We've seen our tamariki transform across the year within themselves. We've seen them kind of walk into the room at the beginning of the year, and they can be, you know, quite shy, and we'll talk about, you know, standing up and doing your pepeha, and some of the tamariki are kind of like, well, shucks, I don't even know my pepeha. What does that look like? And even if they do just stand up and say their name, they can be quite, you know, it's nervous. It's nerve-wracking to stand in that space. And by the end of the year, they stand in their mana, they stand shoulders back, they stand
100%
head up.
Usually too, like the start of this year, halfway through now, we've got about 70% of the tamariki getting up.
Yeah, mean.
And just getting up and sharing their pepeha. And some kids don't even know their pepeha, but we tell them that there's power in your name. You've been given your name, so just say your name. And there's power in that. So
and they do it. It doesn't matter if it's a tamariki who knows, a full tauparapara and stands there like a koro on the pie and can do, a full pepeha, or if they're standing there and saying ko Cheyjuana tōku ingoa, just their name. They stand in their mana, and every single one of those is worth absolute celebration. So we've seen how it works. We've seen tamariki transform into rangatira, to leaders, to tuakana in the space, and so we want to
just make sure
get it out there more, to other tamariki, because we know the power in it. How to do that?
How to do that with all the kids we have. So it's a slow process for us, but I think for us both, we're working at the pace that we think is necessary for us as well, and just making sure that we're okay as well. But we definitely are talking about the future in terms of Whakamana Māori and potentially expanding to other schools. But again, we only have limited resources, limited time, so we just want to do it right. That's kind of
and there's probably a sense of release would have to do as well, to be actually the kaupapa is safe in other people's hands as well, because we couldn't, if we were to expand, we can't do it all by ourselves. And I think at the moment we're just protecting this thing that's so beautiful but so new, and so I don't know.
If we did get someone else, let's just say we got someone else for another kura. We just want that person to be. We want it to be a little bit for them.
We want them to be as passionate about it. We want them to go, we need this for our tamariki, because we see what it does, the power it has, and to be on the keep the integrity of it.
I think let's address a couple of things. I always believe if you do good things, you should earn good money. If you do great things, you should earn great money. That's I have absolutely never. Now that I've made my peace with wealth, money, what that entails, wealth not also meaning money, wealth in whole realms. When I look at just personally the value that Whakamana Māori has done for my babies, I can certainly quantify out that that's certainly something we would pay for. But in saying that, when it comes to retaining authenticity, these days the guidance has to be around building frameworks that enable that. One of my favourite books is a book called Pour from the Heart, and it's a book by Howard Schultz, who started... Well, he didn't start Starbucks, but he built Starbucks to what it is. And it was all entirely built on the experience. And there was one phrase that has stuck with me in my business career. How do you get big yet stay small?
Yeah.
And that has driven a lot of my thinking, right? When we started, we saw... Crazy, we ran into a whānau who was one of our original whānaus when we first started. Their kids are now old. And we saw her yesterday, and she's we moved back from Taupo, and we see far out, you guys are now everywhere. And so I just remember when you guys were just one. But what we get to celebrate, Courtney and I, now currently all our teams and things, is that commitment to a framework, strong leadership, strong storytelling, all those sorts of elements that have allowed us to replicate and then be paid accordingly. That's, I think, when we see that as a result, because you can't scale complex ideas, it's very hard to scale that. When we talk about scaling a love letter, that works, right? When we say that out loud, actually, that works. If it's a love letter to myself, if we can fill a need or a void, if that's what we're really talking to, which is, of course, that's what I'm acknowledging. I was lucky in that sense. I only see it now. I'm 43. My brother's an old bugger, but that whānau where we're filling potentially a need or a void, that enables authenticity. That's what I think we've got to look at. That does the necessity enshrine authenticity because, hey, I'm coming to you because I can see you feel something. Yes. So then finding those people, I actually like Suzanne, right? She's a great example. Finding those people that plug in, I think you'll find it will come very easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if we don't tempt that, we don't put our foot in the water, we'll never find out. No.
Yeah.
And the other factors on this is why I love having this kōrero with you guys. We've got to put it out to the world. I find that this program needs exposure in your time, you know, when now that we're talking through. But what we know, because you know, I didn't know about the year 6 thing, that already is a little bit of exposure. What have been some of the challenges though in delivering some of that stuff there with those year 6s? Because you don't have rapport. You got to go in and build rapport quick, I assume.
Yeah, it's and it's like a one-off lesson. It's a one-off session that kind of, I think probably one of our strengths is we're quite fun. Yeah. We're just naturally like...
Crazy how that works for kids. Right. Crazy how that works for kids, right?
Absolutely. You want to get them on your side. Yeah, so we...
Actually, adults too.
Yeah, well, it's just, I find, as an introvert, I find it a lot easier with the tamariki. I can go in there and be an absolute goofball and it not matter. Like, you know, it's... Yeah.
So much easier to facilitate to kids too.
Yes.
Than being on a podcast.
I feel like you don't get anything wrong, but come to adults, different story.
So in the year 6 space, just build the context. Like, what does it look like? You're going in and you have it, how long?
So we take care of, we actually take care of 4, 5 and 6.
Wicked.
Tamariki, yeah. So just combination.
Yes.
That's within the rōpū, within the rōpūs. But going into the mainstream is just the year. We've just done the year 6s. We're going to do the year 5s.
So that's 4. How many year 6 rooms are there?
I think it was 6.
6.
Classrooms?
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's big.
And so we've got like an hour.
So that's 100.
15.
That's 120, 130 kids. Probably more.
Yeah.
It's a big chunk of children.
Feel a little bit like famous at the moment when you walk in, because you know the more kids we get to meet, the more it's kia ora whai, you know, it's really cool. But hour 15 with them, I think.
About an hour.
Yeah, and we stick with our open with a karakia. We do a waiata, introduce ourselves. We go in loud, we go in bubbly, we go in fun. We make sure our lessons are very hands-on, and they're creating stuff and they're doing stuff. I don't even know how to answer your question, because it's not been hard, that I think, just to build that rapport, even if we within that limited time. They're so curious, but they're so engrossed in the session that it makes it really easy. I think the things we're doing are cool and fun in that
age group too. I think that
they're naturally
I certainly found teaching at intermediate, I still find there's a very big lens of curiosity if we can facilitate it, because you're not quite in the rush of being a year 11 to get NCA or whatever the hell it is you're trying to get these days, but the year 6s that came in where they get past a little bit of shyness and then get into it, far out, you see that. But at a school like Tahatai, where they're the big fish. Marlo, although it doesn't reflect that at home, her curiosity around a lot of what's going on has really flourished, including, and that's why the exposure or access to Whakamana Māori, as well as, like I just said before, the production and band and all this stuff, has, as a combination, built a major character within the school. that exposure, if it plants the seeds, of just like, far out, wonder where this can head for me.
Yeah.
Especially in a mainstream space. A lot of Māori whānau don't engage in Māori services. That's the reality. That's not, and I think I can't answer exactly why. Certainly geographically, things would certainly have an effect, but also the reality is Māori whānau make choices for their whānau. So that exposure matters. Yeah. What do you think if we fast forward to September 1st next year? What's it looking like? What's your kind of vision?
That's so far ahead.
You're so close. No, we have some. So we want to expand. We want to. We've each year our goal. So again, we're only in the third year, but our goal has been to has been expansion. So we started, with one rōpū in year one. We doubled it in year two, year three. Now we've got two set rōpū and going out into the mainstream. I think the next natural step would be try to expand to other kura as well and get out
mainstream kura.
Yep.
That potentially need. Well, everyone needs it, but
yes.
Just who might be screaming out for a bit more.
Yes.
But in terms of which kura, that's a conversation that I need to have with Matt.
Yes.
Just in terms of recommendations and, just figure out
where it would be most beneficial.
Yeah. Well, we know, I think questioning beneficial is I think that might not be the place to start, and this is my whakaaro on this, and the reason why I say that is because you can't continue to market proof every school you go into. Like, you've got actually market proof, right? Like, otherwise you would have been booted after year one.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to accept that actually we're doing really well.
Okay.
It's, right? That's like us. We have to accept we're doing really well. That's why we can keep building. Otherwise, if we weren't, we're not building. But the second thing is in an advocacy space, how do we illustrate to people the value that we see in ourselves? I find it very hard if we can't see all the value that we bring in lots of realms. If we can't see that ourselves, it's very hard for other people to see.
Yeah.
And that's why these sorts of kōrero is really important. But you've already discussed, you've had someone come in who's not part of it saying, hey man, so how many of those people are out there? That's the question, right? Probably lots.
I mean, we get, that's not the first.
Yes.
Yeah, we get it often. Even as do you know what? I have this theory, right, on imposter syndrome, because as you're talking, I'm going, I know what this is. I almost feel like I have to prove to myself the value of what we're bringing to prove to others, but I have this theory around imposter syndrome and disconnection from Te Ao Māori. Again, preface this by saying this is just personal opinion, based on nothing except for personal lived experience. But like for me, as a Māori girl with a beautiful, strong Pākehā mother, I grew up very firmly in Te Ao Pākehā, and I was trying to stay humble, kumara, but I was really clever. I was like a very clever kid.
Yeah.
So I should say,
not was.
I was.
You are.
I am a very
Your cleverness doesn't disappear.
But I was the type of clever that was valued within Western frameworks of education. So, and that's a really important distinction, I think, because there's so many different types of intelligence. But I was the one that is privileged within mainstream education, in that I'm really good at memorizing and regurgitating information. So I was always in the accelerate classes and would get scholarships to every school I went to. But with that, on the outside, it would look like high achievement, and that I would kind of belong in those spaces. But with that, there was always this undercurrent of questioning, I think, and almost maybe suspicion. Like what are you doing here? How did you get here? You got a scholarship? Was it a Māori one? English? How'd you get that? Oh, it must have been a quota. Like all those kind of questions and doubts. And even if it wasn't directly said, some people are quite open with their disbelief, and some people it's more in the eyebrows and more in the subtlety. But I think when you're questioned enough about your right to be somewhere, you naturally start to question yourself. And I think that's what I did as growing up. Enough people questioned, how did you get here, that I started going, do I belong here? Like, am I meant to be here or not, kind of thing. And as I've been on my, journey of reconnection, I've kind of linked that seed of imposter syndrome that was planted to that disconnection, because I didn't have those anchors of my culture, of my reo, of whakapapa, of the idea that actually I don't just have a right to be in these spaces. I belong here. I belong in these spaces. I belong to the whenua, right? And not belong like whakaaro Pākehā, where it's like ownership, like it belongs to me, I belong to it, because we are, right? Like on a cellular level, yes. I belong here. Yes. It's in my DNA to be here. And I think, so I've linked my imposter syndrome to that growing up disconnected. And now I have to remind myself the same things I tell the tamariki, which was that actually my tupuna were incredible. They were healers and astral navigators and scientists and innovators, and they were all these beautiful, strong, powerful things, and that runs in my DNA. And I don't have to question or doubt whether what I'm doing within this program, whether it's good enough or it's it just is enough, because I'm enough, because it's enough, and our tamariki enough, and like it's all Sorry, and then bit of a ramble, but as you were talking, I was going, this is those little things that are holding me back almost. I can hear it as that little, imposter in the back of my head going, but should you expand? Can you expand? Do you have enough backing? Is there benefit in it? Who are you to even think of expanding? Who are you to run that, And as you're talking, I'm going, I need Ray on my other shoulder going, do it, expand.
Well, I think thank you. As much as I'm on both you guys' shoulders, actually you need yourself. And when you gain clarity, see, I have experienced the same things, and I was very combative. So I was kind of like, fuck yeah, it was a Māori one. You missed out, bro. Like I was real competitive about it. I won't some other stories. So I was actually not a great young but the story, imposter syndrome's global, right? That's not tied to, and in that scenario there, even for myself, I think through the best way to continue to combat imposter syndrome is to lean into it. I tend to find your body or your psyche is actually probably trying to, if we believe this, if we frame this, trying to pull us to where our destiny lies. So I think the world does conspire to see us succeed. I think our tupuna, they were travellers, they were scientists. Their whakaaro back then sets us up for us to do what we can do as well, and that's what I love about your guys' kaupapa, is that we help reconnect back into who our tupuna were, and that's our opportunity as well. That is our opportunity. And I've been really fortunate to meet other Indigenous cultures and work alongside them and see the same struggles that they have with identities, or actually just fitting in. And I've noticed general trends, patterns do exist around, hey man, have I earned this? And that's what it comes back down to. I think we've got to recognise that we've earned our place in today's world. As of today, we've earned that, and good and bad.
Yeah.
Right, and that's like my mate Russ. I love him so much, and he's been through a lot, and still there's still these elements that that people hold him to from back in the days when actually he's nowhere near that person today. He's earned who he is today, and actually sits comfortable in it. That there's still stories about who he was, which now don't bother him.
Yeah.
And that's where, because what year 4 looks like in September the 1st, 2026, is absolutely going to be transcendent from what today is, because that's the natural inclination of the world. Move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Ironically, I was walking around the streets in a good way this morning, healthy way. Not in a Courtney's kicked me out way. Wondering about, the right thing to do is just to keep moving forward. Pace is all determinant on you, right? But what does one forward step look like? And if we can determine that, it might be one school, 1 year 6 class, then that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all we need, right?
Forward movement.
Yeah.
Eh?
All it needs to be is one class or one set of kids or one extra person to put in that space. That's all it needs.
Yeah.
And I think my riddle to you is, what's the next step? One step. Framing that out. How do we extract that value and then go from there? Do you think, if you were to think right now, you've got people in your back pocket that would be able to run these sorts of things?
Yep.
Yeah.
We do. We've had that discussion. We've had the discussion in terms of who.
Yes.
And we have who would fit perfectly for the role.
Yes.
But
Yeah, because it's quite an easy. Oh, not easy. It would be like in terms of running it, all you have to be is passionate, but
the same. I want the same.
I think so. When I designed it and planned it, like I have an education background. I'm teacher trained, but I almost had to turn off that side of my brain.
Yes.
As I started actually facilitating it, because
I
think
well done. that is the right way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and it was quite hard, because I think naturally as a teacher you go for like kind of benchmarks of achievement,
of course,
thing. And so I stopped. When I leave the session, I'm not thinking, how much reo did we speak in that? Did it make the 30% marker, or kid, could our tamariki give me a paragraph definition of what manaakitanga means, So I don't think about that. I focus on their lived experiences of, what they're doing. So maybe they can't define manaakitanga, but I know that they're living it within the rōpū.
Can they feel it?
Yeah, they can feel it. I know that when we have manuhiri come in, they understand host responsibility, because they're in the kitchen and they're making kai, because they rāranga harakiki to make bouquets of puti puti, or they've got their book and they've got, koha to give. They've practiced their waiata and their haka to give. They've, we always ask who wants to mihi to our manuhiri, and we always have kai kōrero. So, like if 5 kids put their hand up, all 5 of them can do it. There's no limits on anything.
Yep.
Because I want them to experience that. I want them to understand what it means to give thanks, because someone has given their time and their energy to come in, and it's important that they uplift them. And so maybe they can't, if we were to sit an exam and at the end of the year and go, write a paragraph, how do you define manaakitanga? Maybe they would go, what's manaakitanga? But I know that they're living it, because I can see it. They have upheld the mana of the rōpū so beautifully because of their actions and because of what they've done. And that's what is, so that's what's most important to me is, what they're doing, that we're upholding our values and that they can then take that and outside and, show it, display it within the kura, take it home. That's, so it's an easy program in terms of that, like in terms of there's no, if you can turn off your teacher brain and go, there's not necessarily, boxes that they have to tick of, you have to use this much reo and they have to be able to do this, and that they just take on
just being around each other.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, I think what we've got to say to ourselves is if they might not be able to do that, but they also might be able to do it. I think we have to continue to contemplate 50-50. I think that's always a fair assumption that we must do. The psychological principle of loss aversion being like, if I find $100, I'm excited, but if I lose $100, it hurts more. So we will tend to drift like, but they probably can't. But actually, if we can live in that 50-50 and be like, well, if they probably can't, then they probably can. Like, we've got to give ourselves that at least. But the feeling of it is actually the real key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, we can't validate the feeling. The only way we can validate it is that kids turn up.
Yeah.
You want to be a good sports coach? See how many kids continue coming back to training.
Yeah.
Or be a dickhead. See what happens. Kids won't come.
Yep.
They won't. It's like us. Like, we can't keep hiring great teachers if we don't continue to be great employers or, a great company.
Yeah.
People will just vote by not turning up. That's a reality.
Yeah.
And I wonder about that often when it comes to building businesses like yourselves in that space. Do we weigh up the value of me turning up? Hey, I'm here again. I'm here engaging, not being tutu or, and that's what, again, this is where I quantify it with Frankie, because I know she's quite introverted herself, but she loves it. She's past the lolly thing now. Yeah. Look, you guys are doing a great job. We're really proud of you, Courtney and I, and we're proud to support what you guys are doing and look forward to continuing the support in that space. I think what it looks like in the future is exciting.
Oh, we're excited too. Excited and scared at the same time. But mainly excited though.
Yeah.
Harder. But same to you, and your wahine, just tēnā raua tu koe, for your support, for your tautoko over this year. The tautoko that you've given us has helped us with our tamariki and some of the resources, like our year sixes. That's thanks to you.
Yes.
That we could go into, the mainstream classrooms.
And share resources with our tamariki. What are we doing coming up? So this term we're Te Ao Māori.
Yes.
So we're creating a little,
video resources.
Video resources
for the kura. We want the tamariki to do it like them. So they've made a little jingle. It's pretty cute for the opening thing, and they've chosen their kupu, and they're gonna very think like Tākaro tribe, like kia ora tamariki mai, kupu e te rā is.
Nice.
And so they've planned it all out. They've so we're gonna start recording some of those as a resource for the rest of the kura for that same kind of whakaaro that how can we get what we're doing out to more tamariki, and how can we empower the rest of the school? Let's start with the reo. Let's start with them. And I think it's really beautiful for the tamariki as well, because they're taking real ownership over it, and they immediately become kind of the tuakana. They take on that tuakana role and become, leaders, and they're going to kind of film something that gets played within the classrooms throughout the kura, hopefully. We haven't talked to Matt about this, but played throughout the kura, and they're going to see themselves on the screen. They're going to see themselves as, the language experts, and they're going to share their reo with their peers. And I think that's beautiful and powerful, and they'll naturally stand taller. Stand taller because of it.
Well, okay, well, we look forward to seeing that. That's exciting. I'm sure that's right up Marlo's alley.
The first one on
She'll be the first one.
She's going to sing the jingle.
Right in the middle.
When we saw her in the band, I was like...
Yeah, you're in. Well, Whānau, I appreciate this is the second conversation. It's a chance for us to continue to explore this. It won't be the last. But thank you very much. We appreciate Love Your Mahi. And we look forward to seeing the jingle. We look forward to seeing the jingle from the kids. And progressing this kōrero. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Up the wires.
Up the wires.
Shot team.